The very first thing we want to do, my opinion, is get inside the narcissist head. Now, I use the term narcissist relative to those of us who are autistic because we're the ones they tend to seek out. It is people like us, not always autistic, but people they see as what I like to call low-hanging fruit, vulnerable that they just like to take advantage of. All right, now the question is, how are we going to react? Or a better word is respond, when these people, not all of them are narcissists, but typically narcissists, disrespect us. Well, I've got 9 things here. Number 9, we're going to save the best to last because it's foundational. It just kind of ties everything together. And if we don't do number 9, then the first 8 that we talk about really don't matter. But number 1 is just ask why. Why is this person disrespecting me? If you're a typical person who is autistic, quite often you may ask the question or answer the question why by asking the question, what is it about me that he finds it necessary to take advantage of? Well, I kind of already did that, didn't I, at the very beginning? I said they like to choose us because we are vulnerable. But let's turn that backwards. Why does this person take advantage of us and not other people? What is it not about us, but what is about them? What is it about them, about the narcissist or whoever this person is? So we want to ask, why is this person doing what he or she is doing? Or to reframe it, what is it about him or her? Not what is it about me. We already got that answered. Now I want to know what is it about him or her that makes him or her or them target people like us. So we want to get inside their head. That's the whole point. So why is it? Well, I think it is because that's the way they are. Let's use the term hardwired. Use that term a lot. But what we're saying is this is the way they are. They are biologically, neurologically made. This is the way they are crafted. This is behavior that is innate. Now, maybe it's taught, maybe it's learned, maybe it's a combination of both. But without being innate, you can't learn anything. I mean, even learning process is based on biology. So if you don't have the biological innateness to learn, then you can't learn to be a narcissist. So at the end of the game is it's always innate. Could be innate without learning, or it could be learning is innate, and so in that sense it's innate. But that's the reason they are the way they are. It's hardwired. So now we're inside their head, and what we're seeing here is we're seeing this mechanical configuration that's actually biological. It's actually neurological. So we're looking inside their head, and that's what we see. All right, now once we're inside their head, and we're seeing that they are pre-programmed to behave this way, it's as if they almost can't help it. I think anybody can help it. They choose to do what they do always, but they have this inclination that others don't have to pick out us. I hate to say pick on us. That doesn't sound, yeah, it does sound right, because that's what they're doing, is they are picking out us so they can pick on us. Sounds like victimhood, but hey, that's what they're doing, so let's go with it. So, all right. Seeing inside their head and understanding what they are and why they are the way they are. Number 2 is let's decide that we are going to be the adults in the room. By that I mean that we're going to be in charge. We're going to be in control of this. The narcissist, by his very nature, or whoever this person is, again, they're not always a narcissist, but the person who thinks they can disrespect us and get away with it, they do that because they think they are in control. And maybe they actually are in control. It could be a supervisor. Could be a teacher. You ever been bullied by a teacher? Not very much. I have a couple times, but I've seen teachers bully other people who didn't deserve it. And I've seen them bully some people who did deserve it. Some guy acting up and wouldn't behave himself, and the teacher comes down on him. Okay with that. But what we're saying is the person who is disrespecting you does so because he views himself or she views herself as the person who is in control. That's what's going on inside their mind. So we're going to make up our mind. Sorry, but I'm going to be the adult in the room, and I'm going to behave like the adult in the room. We're saying this to ourselves, not to this person. This is our mindset. And they can't alter that unless we allow them to. So how do we do that? Well, number 3 is we need to be in control. How do we get in control? My opinion is we need to focus on being calm. You've heard that saying, don't let them see you sweat. Well, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about being the adult in the room, being calm. Don't let them see you sweat. In other words, don't let them know. And this is not an easy thing to do. But we need to have the mindset that we're going to let them know that they are not getting to us. Because that's the whole objective. Is to get a rise out of us, to get a reaction, to get a response, to make you say something, do something, to get the jitters, to become nervous, get angry, to get some kind of an emotional response, some kind of a body language, something that tells them they are affecting us, and our response is, sorry, I'm in control. I'm in control of me. You're not getting inside my head because I've already been inside your head and I know what makes you tick, and so you can't affect me. Yeah, I know. That's a lot easier said than done, but I think it can be done. I know because I do it all the time. Number 4 is this: ask questions. I mean, literal questions to this person. Now, some of us with autism, we find it very difficult to speak anytime, anywhere, ever. But if you can, this is a good time to open your mouth and let the thoughts fly out verbally. And a couple of questions we're going to ask, we call this returning the shame, is we're going to say something to the effect of, or ask something to the effect of, why do you say that? So the person who is harassing us, disrespecting us, will say something intentionally to cause an emotional response. And the response they get is a calm, collected individual that says, why did you say that? You're the adult in the room. Another question is, why did you do that? Because it may not be something they said. It could have been, they could disrespect you by something they did. And you can't always say this to a person. I mean, somebody disrespects you by cutting you out in traffic. You can yell at them if you want. They can't hear you. You can honk at them, but that's not being calm. Sometimes you just have to back off, but when it is possible, you want to ask these questions. Why did you say that? Or why did you do that? You know, I mean, wasn't that kind of childish? That's the message you're communicating. You may not say it that way, or you may. But because you're the adult in the room, you're behaving like an adult in the room. Now, what I like to do with these people, disrespectful people, and sometimes I call them narcissists, but disrespectful people, think of them as kids. I mean, 7-year-olds. Literally, think of them as a 7-year-old who is trying to establish his identity, a little bit of control. Not even into puberty yet, not even into adolescence, just a kid. They need to grow up. And remember, we did a whole video on that, and that's a good thing to say to them is, hey, would you grow up? And when you say that, you're saying you are immature and I'm the adult in the room. If you have time, you might want to go back after you watch this video and watch the video on those 2 words that will shut down a narcissist or shut down somebody who is disrespectful. The 2 words are grow up. All right. So what we're doing here is we have been inside their head, had a look around, figured out what makes them tick. Now, we are making them feel that we're inside their head. So number 4 is we're going to make them feel we're probing around, like we're literally inside their brain, poking and punching and manipulating their thoughts by asking these questions. Why did you say that? Why did you do that? Why don't you grow up? So we are playing with our brain. We are now inside their head. Another thing we could do, in addition to or instead of, number 5, you probably already know this, is just be unresponsive. Now, the problem sometimes with going gray rock is initially that just encourages the disrespectful person. That encourages the attacker. And when someone attacks you physically and emotionally, in my thinking, it's pretty much the same thing. It still hurts, however they do it. So you're responsive or unresponsive rather, and what that does is that provides misdirection in the sense that they're firing this insult. They're firing this insult of disrespect. And by not responding at all, it doesn't do what they wanted it to do. It just kind of bounces off. How long are they going to keep on doing that? Well, if they think they're getting inside and you're just not showing it, they're going to keep on doing it. Another thing some people do, and this is highly subjective, but sometimes when someone disrespects you, you can make them feel small by being kind to them. I get to admit, I don't do this very often, but sometimes, you can actually phrase it some way that's a little bit sarcastic. And I know, again, that people who are autistic have a difficult time verbalizing things, have a difficult time with body language. But when you can get that job done, sometimes you can say something kind to them, put them in their place, sarcastically. Not always sarcastically, you may do it, being genuinely nice, showing them that you're bigger than that. Or you may say something like, "Oh, did I hurt your feelings? I'm so sorry." You're being a little bit sarcastic. And another way to be unresponsive is, we said kindness is this unkindness. I don't like to be unkind to people. Very seldom am I unkind to people, but sometimes somebody wants to cut in line and you just don't let them. Sorry, I'm not a doormat. I wasn't put on earth to be a doormat. You were not put on earth to walk on other people, and I'm going to be representative, not only standing up for me, but I'm going to stand up for everybody. And that takes us to number 6, and that is nobody. No one on this earth is entitled to disrespect you without just cause. Now let's say that you rob a bank and you think it's disrespectful to be arrested and thrown in jail. Okay, you're entitled to that. I mean, you deserve it. But when there is no offense and people are just being jerks, they're just disrespectful, and there are a zillion narcissists out there, I mean, what is it? 1 or 2% of 8 billion people, you do the math, there's a lot of them out there. And none of them are entitled to disrespect you without cause. None of them. And it's not just you, it's anybody. They're not entitled to disrespect anybody. So when they're disrespecting you and you let them get away with it, what you are doing is not only signaling to them that, yeah, you're open for being disrespected, but you're also telling them that, yeah, you can disrespect people. Not just me, but you can do it to other people. So by defending yourself, in a sense, you are defending other people. Now, number 7, when I wrote this down initially, I had to change it after I wrote it down, because what I wrote was, don't take it personally. But then I thought about it. When somebody disrespects you, it's the same as if somebody took out a knife and stabbed you. You say, well, don't take it personally. He stabs everybody. Well, yeah, but it hurts. I mean, I got blood coming out where this person stabbed me. I'm going to take it personal. I don't care how many people he does it to. They should take it personally too. And what would happen if everybody, this disrespectful person, disrespected, would take it personally? So I'm taking it personally and impersonally. So I'm taking it personally in the sense that somebody stabbed me. but I'm taking it impersonally in the sense that he stabs everybody. But both ways are incorrect. He or she has no entitlement to do that. So I am going to take it personally. Whether or not you do, that's your business. I'm not giving advice. I'm just giving you some ideas, telling you what I have learned to do in my 70 plus years on planet Earth. Number 8 is know when to stand your ground. Sometimes it's just not worth it, you know. I mentioned a moment ago about somebody cutting you out in traffic. That's going to happen. All you got to do is stand on a street corner, busy street, any town, USA, any city, any interstate highway, and you'll see this happening. It's human behavior. It happens all the time. It just shows the dark side of how people think, but they like to cut each other out of traffic, and that's just figuratively. Speaking about life in whole, we like to disrespect each other, me first. That's how humans think. So we have to say to ourselves, am I gonna stand my ground and get into a fight every time somebody disrespects me? Well, if you do, you're going to spend your entire life fighting because people are going to be disrespecting you all the time. So what we're doing, I guess we're saying we need to choose our battles wisely. The objective is not to defeat the enemy, but the objective is to win the battle. Isn't that the same thing? Well, sometimes you can defeat the enemy and still lose the battle, you know? You can cost yourself so much in winning that you have nothing left. What's that called? A heroic victory or something like that? So we need to be careful that we know when to stand our ground. When is this person, this disrespectful person, worth standing up to? And it's easy to say, as we said a moment ago, number 7, it's easy to say, I'm just not going to take it personal. Or we can say, I'm just going to forgive. I'm going to be forgiving. No, you're not. You know, if the person continues to assault and the insult, then forgiveness didn't happen. I mean, on your side, you offered forgiveness, but if the person doesn't accept it, it didn't happen. It's just you saying, go ahead, do whatever you want. Forgiveness doesn't happen until the other person accepts your offer of forgiveness and changes. And if the person didn't change, you may have offered forgiveness, but you didn't forgive. For means before, give means a gift. You were giving something to them beforehand, and if they don't take it, I mean, this is your attitude. I will forgive you if you will accept it. You do this beforehand. If they don't accept it, then they're not forgiven. Just that simple. So let's not use forgiveness as an excuse. What's that other one I hear all the time? People saying that something to the effect that, just don't let these offenses get you down and don't hold a grudge. If the pit bull next door is going to bite me and I know it, I'm going to hold a grudge. And if this person is going to constantly disrespect me and try to hurt me, I'm not going to sink into denial, and say, well, there, it went away because I'm denying it exists. I'm being dismissive, and so be gone, bulldog, be gone, pit bull. I'm going to pretend you're not there, even as he's chewing on my leg. It doesn't work that way. Same thing works with people who are disrespectful with narcissists. They're not going to be gone because you say, well, I'm just not going to hold a grudge. Yeah, well, they're going to be back. Until you pick up your armor, and there is, as I said before, you can't fight every one of these, but there are times where you have to pick up your armor and fight back. Sometimes offensively, sometimes defensively, but we need to know, my opinion, when to stand our ground. All right, now, that takes us to number 9. This is actually number 1. This is the foundational principle. It's called inference, observation, confusion. We commonly refer to this as jumping to conclusions. The reason this is foundational is sometimes we are offended when there was no offense intended. So the very first thing we need to do, and if we don't do this, numbers 1 through 8 don't matter. Very first thing we need to do is make sure this was an intended offense. I was reading a news story. We're talking about cutting people off in traffic. I was reading a news story about a young woman, college age, probably in her 20s, I guess, maybe late teens, early 20s, and some guy shot her to death. Early morning hours, she and a couple, I think her boyfriend and somebody else, they were going to the beach, maybe in Galveston. I don't know if they have a beach in Galveston, but they were going to watch the sunrise. So I guess you can look east when you're facing south. I don't know. But on the way there, it was early morning, like 2 o'clock in the morning. They were going through traffic, and somebody pulled out in front of them, and to avoid hitting them, they swerved. The girl was driving, and when she swerved, she cut somebody else out. And then somebody else got mad, pulled out a gun, and shot into their car. And she managed to get the car over to the side of the road, and then she died. There was no offense intended. She didn't intend to cut that guy out. But you got to keep in mind that when we're dealing with these people, and they're all around us, and we don't even know who they are, a lot of them strangers, 7-year-olds unaware. They look like adults, but they don't behave like adults. And some of them are good at behaving like adults by masking, by performing. But when the performance is over, ultimately, they're little kids, 7-year-olds. Took her life because he just jumped to a conclusion, lack of impulse control. So the first thing we need to do, number 9 is number 1, is we need to not jump to conclusions, not just assume this was intended to be an insult. Sometimes you have to let people offend you just to find out if it was an intended offense. So they do it again. Okay, I'll wait. Maybe lightning struck twice. Sometimes lightning strikes 3 times, but I've never seen it. So if somebody has a pattern of being offensive, okay, it may not even be intentional, but still, it's okay to stand your ground when that happens. If you got something out of this video, I encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give this video a thumbs up, share it on social media, let us know your thoughts, start a conversation, join a conversation, whatever you want to do. But yeah, participate in the comment section, and we will see you all next time.